Welcome back again to the Body Wisdom series. I'm Cherie, your somatic coach. And in this series, we create a solid foundation by understanding the three primary states our nervous system can be in: ventral vagal safety, sympathetic fight or flight, and dorsal vagal shutdown. These are the building blocks for understanding how our body responds to both stress and safety. That said, there are additional layers and nuances in how the nervous system responds, especially in situations where we feel overwhelmed or trapped. Now that you have a foundational understanding, I've created this bonus video to dive a little bit deeper into two other common responses: the freeze response and the fawn or appease response. These often show up in the context of trauma and stress. They are important for us to understand because they affect many of us, even if we're not fully aware of it. So let's begin by clarifying the freeze response, which differs from dorsal vagal shutdown. In dorsal vagal shutdown, there is a deep sense of disconnection. It is a complete withdrawal or collapse from life as a way to protect ourselves. It is a state of complete disengagement where our energy is drained and we often feel numb or distant. On the other hand, freeze is more like being stuck or paralyzed, yet highly alert. Sometimes this may mean we are literally unable to move, but it's not always about being physically frozen. It can also show up as feeling stuck in indecision or procrastination, where we know what we need to do, but we're unable to act. This can look like overthinking, hesitant to make a move, hypervigilant, where we are constantly on edge, bracing for something to happen, yet unable to act. Unlike dorsal vagal, where we disconnect, shut down, and numb out, freeze keeps us tense and hyper-aware, yet immobilized. This response often shows up in trauma situations where we felt trapped, powerless, and overwhelmed. It's our body's natural instinct to want to conserve energy and to avoid drawing attention to itself out of hopes of preventing further harm. And this response can feel really frustrating and confusing because our mind might be urging us to take action, yet our body feels unable to do so, unable to take action and follow through. Now let's explore the fawn response. It's often less discussed, but just as important. Fawn happens when, instead of fighting or fleeing, we respond by trying to appease or please the perceived threat. This can look like people-pleasing, going along with what other people want, or trying to pacify someone to avoid conflict. The fawn response is often associated with trauma in relationship, especially for people who grew up in environments where asserting their needs was neither possible or safe. It's also common among women who are socially conditioned to prioritize harmony, avoid conflict, and pacify others. And in many cases, this response is also tied to the long legacy of male violence towards women, where fawning is a way to stay safe. But women aren't the only ones to experience fawning. This response can show up in anyone who has felt disempowered, marginalized, or unsafe in asserting or advocating for themselves. Marginalized groups, whether due to race, gender identity, or other social factors, may unconsciously adopt the fawn response as a way to survive in environments where they feel vulnerable and threatened. So that is a very brief overview of both the freeze and fawn responses. In closing, remember that your nervous system responses have nuance. and that we are each unique. So what you experience may not neatly fit into one of these categories. You may experience a blend of different states, and that's okay. It's normal. It's about taking this information, taking the framework of polyvagal theory, and using it as part of a discovery process in finding what is true in your own lived experience and in your own body. And above all, what's most important is meeting these responses with a sense of compassion, knowing that they are survival responses designed to protect you and keep you safe. Even if they aren't serving you in the same way today, at one time, they were your body's way of keeping you safe. Thank you so much for being here with me. I hope that this information will help you in the same way that it has helped me, that it will bring in a deeper sense of self-awareness and understanding for your life experience, that it will invite in more kindness and patience for yourself and others, and just a little bit more groundedness and ease in your life and relationships. Thank you again for being here with me, and be well.